Good morning. I'm Bill Zortman, and welcome to It's Your Business, show number 3547 in our original It's Your Business series, Thanksgiving Monday. I had lunch with a gentleman on Friday who said he was just putting together a list of things he was thankful for. As it turns out, I'm thankful for him because he is our first guest in this Thanksgiving week. Tony Bachman team is here. And to know him is to appreciate his family and all that he stands for. Now, how's that for an introduction?
Wow, that's amazing. Well,
I've never given you one like that.
And when we were having this conversation, we don't get a chance to go out and do lunch very often, but when we do, it's very memorable. And I know I really appreciated some of the things you shared about your past, and I was like, I didn't know that about Bill. I didn't know that you what you've done. I know that you've done a lot in your life, but to know some of the fine details, I was like, wow, that is really amazing. But to that point of happy Thanksgiving to you and your listeners, because this is the week, we're all celebrating Thanksgivings. Whether it was, I know that my family, one side of my family, we celebrated Thanksgiving yesterday, and a shout out to my mother, who is an amazing cook, and we had
yes, she is.
Yeah, and we had just a beautiful afternoon with family, and we have Thanksgiving coming up on Thanksgiving Day with the other side of our family. So, but I think when we were talking about being thankful, I think we were just to that point where here we are in our time in our lives, and we have to be thankful for the here and now, and we're thankful for the people that have been part of our past and who we are. Basically forged us to be the people we are. And, and sometimes it takes a little longer because, I'm maybe a little hard-headed, so maybe I just needed just about 60 years to be able to learn some of these lessons where someone else maybe learned them all in 30 years. But you are the sum of the company you keep, and so I feel blessed to have people like yourself in my life. How's that for being thankful?
And the people that you've dealt with before.
Correct.
To still keep them in your life. They can call you if they want advice or if I want advice from them.
Yep.
That makes a difference.
Yep. Yeah, it really does. And I think that it's nice to know that you have a support group of people that are out there. And I can't say enough to the people that are in my life and how much I appreciate them. So anyway, I've just said it on radio, so hopefully that qualifies for something.
It does. We're the last week of November. In essence, today's the 22nd. We go another 8 or 9 days. Then we got a full month left. What we want to do is get ready for the report card show in a couple of weeks and the end of the year, which is like 6 weeks out. What can you share this morning?
Yeah, so I think to our point when we were talking about building permits, I'll be really surprised if we don't hit that $1 billion mark in early December or end of this month, But I think it's something that's going to be hit, and it's going to be quite the accomplishment for the local representatives who have been working this, the contractors, builders, remodelers, all those. It's been an amazing year here in this community, and I think the message that we've had over the last 11 months or longer is that we've been very busy. The real estate market has been very busy, and we're not in a normal. When people think of traditional, normal, seasonal real estate, because many businesses and industries have seasonality. And we, in the past, have had a seasonality of, hey, when we get to the end of October, things kind of slow down because people are going to enjoy the holidays. You're not going to see as many listings. You're not going to see as many buyers. And that, in the past, used to be from end of November till the end of January or February.
Jeff Eckhoff apparently spoke to a Rotary meeting that I didn't go to about a week or two ago, saying that our building permits really are over $1 billion right now because we're 8 weeks behind with all the permits that we've had. And with all the help that our friend Butch has had over there, I can see why they'd be a little bit behind. They're trying to catch up. And when he says, well, it may have to wait till next year, that may be the reason. Help.
Right. Yeah. No, and I think that's, and I think one of the things that we kind of had touched on is the fact that we would probably be able to go faster than what we go with our economy and what's happening in our world. It's just that part of it is the workforce. It's having people to be able to do it. It's having contractors. It's having supply materials and that sort of thing. So I think everybody's trying to do the best that they can do to keep up with this. And I think what I've noticed in my working with other business people and our clients is that people are willing to be patient as long as they understand what they're being patient for. I mean, I think that's part of that communication process, is making sure that everybody's fully understanding why, what, when, and hopefully, I know it's not convenient sometimes when things don't happen exactly when they're supposed to happen, or maybe a report doesn't come out when reports. But I think everybody understands that everybody's doing their best. They put their best foot forward here.
Well, and you were going almost the same direction as Jeff did, speaking with that largest of the service clubs in South Dakota. Stats are not normal at this point because we don't know what normal is.
Yeah, I think the last 2 years have kind of changed the whole dynamic of, the whole conversation of what normal is. And I did pull just a few miscellaneous stats because, I mean, that's why you want me here, right?
Absolutely.
Just to be able to put a perspective to it. But, when we talk about, I'm just looking at like October of 21, October of 20, October of 19. And then in some of cases, I've even went 10 years and I went to October of 2011 just to kind of give but like pending sales, for example, in October of this year was 680 versus last year in 2020 was 535. And then in October of 2019, it was 438. But now if we go back 10 years, and of course it's a different market, different economy, that sort of thing, it was only 238.
Wow.
So from 10 years' time, our pending sales is triple to what it was, previous.
We talked as well about interest rates, all of those things, that where we're at. Are they going to go up a little bit, down a little bit? Will some people, if they go up, then not be qualified? What are you thinking might happen?
It's always a specter. I mean, you never want to be the one that's screaming from the top of your lungs, the sky is falling, and oh my gosh, interest rates are going to take off and you're going to be left out. But I think there's a grain of truth in that. A little bit is that we know eventually interest rates are going to have to increase. We just can't quantify 100%. But from what we've been told, what we're reading, and I know that Gary might be able to shed some light on this also.
Gary Popke's
Correct.
Frontier Bank next.
Yeah, he's going to be coming in here next. He might be able to shed some light. But from my understanding from what I've read, is that we are going to see an increase, but we don't know if it's going to be later in 2022 or if it rolls into 2023. And that increase at this point, the prognosticators or the people that are forecasting are saying approximately about 0.5%. But, as we know that the world economy and what's happening and, everything that's happening, that could change too. But if we're just looking at moving forward, it's going to be a very busy winter. We're going to be busy all the way through Christmas. We're going to be busy instead of having a normal spring market where all of a sudden in March and April we get real busy, we're already here. I mean, we had multiple contracts this week. We've put listings out. The listings get picked up. So it's, I don't want to say it's like a spring season, but we're close to that right now. So I think that the other thing is we've talked to a lot of sellers. We're talking about, getting their homes ready, prepared to sell, and, and we're working toward finding them some other homes or a property. And once we do, then they're going to say, let's go, let's do it. But in the meantime, they're preparing their homes for sale.
Here's the other thing you and I talk about, and we do the report card show usually either the first or second Monday of the month. Next month it is the first Monday. I think it's the 6th. But as we talk about that, we're talking about how many people are coming from other parts of the country. They don't even see the property. They do the Zoom. They do all the ways that you and I would have thought 8, 10, 12 years ago, and the interest rates were a little higher. People are going to buy homes by Zooming in Sioux Falls and neighboring communities?
Well, I think there's two parts of this. Is the fact that because of everybody's had to kind of embrace this technology of Zooming or FaceTime because of COVID, and then all of a sudden it's now become kind of a little bit of a norm. And so with people's busy lives, instead of them having to get on a plane, spend $600 for a ticket to get here and back just to be able to see a property, I think they've come to the conclusion that as long as they have someone that's there on the ground, can show them some, highlights of the property, whether it's a FaceTime or a video, and I think people just have a high comfort level with being able to move forward. But yes, we're seeing a number of, and we've done a number of those too, where we're having conversations with our clients, based on that.
The Zoom really came into play last week as I met with hundreds of farm broadcasters, hundreds of folks wanting to get on farm broadcast stations around the country.
Yeah.
And as we did that, they hadn't met in the last year because of COVID. And this was maybe the warmest of the events they had seen in years because they forgot how important it was eyeball to eyeball.
I think that more and more people are getting to that point where they really like to embrace having, people around them and having that conversation and contact. I think a lot of workplaces, yes, a lot of them have curtailed the amount of, office time, but I also know there's like this double-edged sword where you're trying to find this happy medium between having contact, being able to have, an eyeball-to-eyeball exchange of ideas, because I think when you see somebody's, half the communication process is body language, and when you're doing a Zoom meeting or a phone call, you don't get a chance to read that body language very well. So I think it's important to have that, and I think people we're all human. We like relationships, and being able to have the one-on-one, face-to-face is gratifying.
It was a week ago that we had a new person on the show that actually teaches those people what they need to know about buying a house, all the financials. And as I sat and listened to him, some would say, well, he wasn't American. Yeah, he is. He's an American now, and he may have come from another part of the world. But guess what? He's here helping people to understand what they need to do to buy a house to make sure they don't lose that house.
Absolutely. I think this is just everything that we do is an education process. And I think and I kind of always said in this show, I said a confused mind says no. And so if you can alleviate people's fears and concerns, and, we get a lot of questions, and not everybody has the same question. Not everybody has the same concern, or
know the urgency.
No, that's true, and that's where I think we as being out there helping them in a state of customer service, we have to try to convey that in a fashion that makes sense for them and also makes them successful. At the end of the day, so it's a process. I think this whole thing about doing real estate and that is there's a lot of different steps. There's a lot of communication. And not everybody needs the same amount of communication. Some people need more. I think it's just recognizing what everybody's needs are, and so you can move forward in a productive manner.
So how do they reach your team?
Best way to reach us is we have a Facebook page. It's Tony Bachman Group, which is awesome
to work with. What's Facebook?
Yeah, I think that's
not everybody knows.
It's a big format, social media format, and love it or hate it, I think it's one way for people to connect.
And they do.
And TonyBachmanGroup.com, and my cell number is 605-201-5998. We would love to entertain any questions you may have and concerns. We'll do what we can. In the meantime, happy Thanksgiving to everyone.